There's a window within a few steps of you right now. You look through it every single day, and you've probably never thought about it once. You should. This invention built cathedrals, crashed the world's first jet airliners, got taxed by kings, and ended up orbiting the Earth. This is the story of the hole in your wall. The first window wasn't invented, it was just left out. The earliest builders left a gap in the wall, and that gap had two jobs: let the smoke out, let the light in. It also let in rain, wind, dust, thieves, and the occasional chicken. The entire history of the window is one long fight. Keep the good stuff, block everything else. The first fix was wooden shutters. Closed, your home was pitch black. Open, your home was an icebox. For thousands of years, that was the choice you got. Then Rome happened. About 2,000 years ago, the Romans put the first glass into windows in their bathhouses and in the villas of the rich. Roman glass was thick, bubbly, and green. You couldn't actually see through it, but light came in and the cold stayed out, and that alone made it a luxury worth bragging about. When Rome fell, European glassmaking nearly died with it. For centuries, ordinary windows were covered with oiled cloth, parchment, or flattened animal horn. Yes, horn, scraped thin enough to glow. Imagine looking at the morning through a slice of cow. That hazy yellow blur was daylight, medieval edition. But while peasants squinted through horn, the church was building something on a completely different level: stained glass. Cathedral windows were giant comic strips made of light. Most people couldn't read, and printed books didn't exist yet, so the windows told them Bible stories in pictures. Historians literally call them the poor man's Bible. For a villager stepping inside, this was the brightest, most colorful thing they would ever see in their entire life. In the 1400s, Venice changed the game. A glassmaker named Angelo Baravere figured out how to make glass truly transparent, clear as air you could touch. Suddenly, a window wasn't just about light. You could finally see through it, and the rich of Europe went absolutely insane for clear glass. By the 1590s, the richest woman in England after the Queen, Bess of Hardwick, built a mansion that was basically one giant window. People rhymed about it: Hardwick Hall, more glass than wall. She hid the chimneys inside the internal walls just to fit more glass. It was the Lamborghini of houses. And that's exactly when governments noticed something interesting. If windows equal wealth, then windows can equal taxes. England 1696, a tax on windows. Counted from the street, the taxman never even had to knock, and the British responded by bricking their windows up. Seriously. Britain taxed daylight for 155 years. Walk through any old British town and you'll still see the blind, bricked-up windows. The Scots even painted fake black windows onto walls, just to mock it. France went even further and taxed windows and doors all the way until 1926. But honestly, that whole saga deserves a video of its own. Back to the glass. Because the Industrial Revolution was about to make glass cheap, and celebrate it in the most spectacular way imaginable. London 1851, the Crystal Palace. A building made of 293,000 panes of glass, 3 times the size of St. Paul's Cathedral, assembled in 5 months. Visitors stepped inside and saw the future. Whole walls made of light, trees growing indoors. Nobody had ever stood inside a transparent building before. One problem remained. Making glass truly flat was still hard. Old panes were wavy and full of ripples. Look through a window in any old house, and the world outside wobbles. The fix arrived in 1959, from a man literally named Pilkington. His idea sounds completely insane. Pour molten glass onto a pool of molten metal. Liquid glass floats on liquid tin and spreads out perfectly flat like oil on water. It cools into a flawless mirror-smooth sheet. No grinding, no polishing, no ripples. Today, virtually every window on Earth is made this way. One factory line pours out up to 1,000 tons of perfect glass a day. Your window is a frozen river that once floated on metal. Meanwhile, 10 kilometers up, windows were about to teach engineers a deadly lesson. In the early 50s, Britain launched the de Havilland Comet, the world's first jet airliner. Beautiful, fast, futuristic, with elegant square windows. Then in 1954, 2 comets tore apart in midair within months of each other. No storm, no enemy. The plane simply broke. Investigators sank an entire comet into a giant water tank and pressurized it again and again, until the hull burst. The cracks had started at the sharp corners of openings in the metal skin. Sharp corners concentrate stress. Rounded shapes spread it out. That is the entire reason every airplane window you've ever looked through is round. Next time you're in seat 23A, look at that little oval. It's not a style choice. It's a safety lesson, written in metal and paid for in lives. Back on the ground, architects took the opposite path. More glass, all the glass, everywhere. Modern skyscrapers are Hardwick Hall on steroids. Buildings where the wall is the window, hanging on a steel skeleton like a curtain made of glass. Glass even learned to fight back. Bulletproof glass is a sandwich. A hard layer flattens the bullet, and a layer of tough clear plastic catches it like a goalkeeper. The more layers, the more it stops. The window, once the weakest point of any wall, became armor you can see through. And then the window left the planet. About 400 kilometers above your head, the International Space Station carries the most extreme window ever built. A glass dome called the cupola. 7 windows in one dome. Each is 4 layers thick. An outer shield against space debris, 2 pressure panes of fused quartz, and an inner pane so astronauts can't scratch it. Outside, the temperature swings from plus 120 to minus 150 degrees Celsius every 45 minutes. This window watches 16 sunrises a day. There are even shutters, real window shutters in space, that close over the panes when debris flies too near. The oldest trick in the book, 400 kilometers up. Ask astronauts about their favorite place on the whole station, and they give the same answer, the window. They spend their free time doing exactly what you do on a rainy day, looking out. From a hole that let in chickens, to a quartz dome watching the Earth spin, it's been the same invention all along. Every window ever built answers the same question. How much of the world do you dare let in? Light but not the cold, the view but not the rain, the sky but not the vacuum. Thousands of years spent drawing a single line between out there and in here. So tonight, before you close the curtains, give the glass 2 seconds of respect. It earned them. If you will never look at a window the same way again, good, my job here is done. Subscribe for more hidden histories of the everyday things around you, and I will see you at the next window. Take care.